Hi, my name is Mike. I'm doing a web series called Test Equals Testimony. Basically, just talk about my past experiences, some of the things I've been through, some of the things God has brought me out of. This is motivated by God. I was praying, just chatting with God, and He told me to start making some videos of my testimony and what I've been through. And so He tells me when, and tells me the subject matter, and I start talking about it. So He gets His glory out of it, and it is what it is. So this story is called This Hurts Me as Much as It Hurts You. A little bit of background real quick. My mom, I've never known who my real dad was. My mom got this dude, she started messing with him. They ended up getting married. He wanted to adopt me, give me his name. I was like 7 years old, and we were right at the point to where we were about to go do the adoption ceremony or whatever it's called. So it was a couple nights earlier. I had gotten into some trouble for something. I think me and my buddy made a fire or tried to light a book on fire in the apartment complex or something. We're like 7 or 8, not in the complex, but in the basement. I mean, something serious, definitely. But he went home and told his mom, or she smelled smoke on him, I don't know. And she came home. She came over and told my mom, who in turn said she didn't know what to do. She was going to tell my dad. Yeah, my dad, the guy that is going to actually be my dad by law and name. In fact, I'm going to be the second or junior, I guess. But they've been prepping me for that. Dad, 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 dad. You know what I mean? Because told me you never had a dad, now you got a dad. Cool, you got a dad. Okay, cool, dad. And because dad's paying the bills. So, straight. And anyway, he comes home that night, that morning. He worked a night shift. And I'll make a long story short because really the only thing that makes this relevant was it was the first time. And he let me know that I'm his dad now, and he's got to understand that maybe I've been able to get away with anything I want, but now it's not going to be like that. There's going to be consequences, and if you do something serious, there's going to be very serious consequences. Basically, he made me get out of bed at 3, 4 in the morning, 7 years old, pull my pants down, pull my underwear down. He took off his leather belt and he beat me down with it. Good. About 15, 20. I'm talking about your little get your butt whooped and it hurts wax. I'm talking about bruising the next day and 3 days later wax. Now we'll fast forward on to he's my real dad now, legit. We went to the little ceremony and all that. I still with bruises on my butt and my back. So a couple months later, we're all living in the same house together, and I get in trouble at school. I'm in second grade. Same thing. Wears me out. I'm talking about, and talking the whole time through it. My mom nowhere to be found. She's never said all she's telling me in the cut quietly is you gotta do what you need to do. You've never had a dad before, so discipline is tough. I had a grandpa who was career military and used to whoop my butt anytime I got out of line, and he wasn't nice about it, but he never ever ever did anything but let me know sternly and left it at that. This dude here was abusing me. It was ridiculous. And every time it seemed to get a little bit worse because he'd get a little bit angrier. And my problems in school just got worse because, I'm not doing well. I don't like going home. I'm always in trouble. There's nothing that I can do except act out, I feel like. I become scared of this dude who was supposed to be taking care of me and my mom. My mom, she acts like she don't have no voice box no more, and she just lets it go on. And so I'm bad. I'm bad behaved. I'm lying because anytime I got in trouble, it could be considered serious punishment because of whatever mitigating circumstance at the time. You know what I mean? But so I started lying. Now, when I lied and got caught, I really got you know what I mean? I done felt the belt on my neck, my face, wherever, and the buckle, everything, man. I have gone to school between 7 years old and 11 or 11 years old, 4 year span right there. plenty of times bruised up or missed school sometimes because I couldn't walk. Like he was ridiculous. And I played baseball. Sometimes I would miss my starting pitching assignment, and I was a good pitcher, just because I was unable to do it. And so it seemed like he had no mercy, and it seemed like the more he did it, the more bloodthirsty he got for it. And I started to hate the dude. But I mean, my mom, she wasn't doing nothing. She was all right with it. And now I don't know if she was all right with it. Let me not say that. I don't want to paint her with that brush. But all I'm saying is, she didn't do nothing about it. And if she did, it wasn't enough to get him to stop. So this went on for so long. And I remember he'd always used to tell me, you know what? This is hurting me just as much as it's hurting you, when I'd be sitting there screaming for him to stop. When in the beginning, I used to try to put my hands over my butt, and I'd try to put my hands over my back, but man, that would it'd be hitting my hands, and then it'd be worse, and you know what I mean? So I didn't really see any way out of it. And actually, it got to the point to where I kind of got numb to it. No, I never got numb to it. It always hurt bad, but he said it hurt him just as much as it hurts me. I'm like, yeah, right. I actually, one time I was like 11, and he said that while he's just going off. Hit probably about 20, 30 times by this time. He's like, you're screaming, but you don't know it's hurting me as much as it's hurting you. I'm like, no, it isn't. Oof. Well, let me tell you something. That was not a good idea. So that was ridiculous. I never said that again. By the time I get to 8th grade, I'm such a problem. I mean, it is beyond. And if y'all have watched any of my other videos, then there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. And man, at that point there, I was out there, man, like so far out there. I can't even begin to explain to you or myself. I knew I was down with God because I would pray to God all the time. I can remember specifically talking to God all throughout middle school because I'd be isolated. My parents would isolate me in my room. They would put me on restriction for like 30 days. And it would be, well, through the week, you'd go to school, you'd come home, you'd eat dinner, you'd take a shower, you'd go to your room. Weekends, room. Come out for meals, chores, room. And that would last forever. And on summer break, it'd be the same way. I'd hear all my friends playing outside. Like, I would be isolated. So I didn't have nothing to do. So I had a Bible. I didn't even realize I was locked up then, because that's what you get in your cell. You get a Bible, at least. So I'd read the Bible. And I'd read all the stories in the Bible. None of them made sense. I mean, some of them did, a little. But the point is, I started praying, talking to God, whatever. And so that's how I got through a lot of those times. And when I started lying a lot, my dad came up with this good idea. Now, this was a good idea. After he'd beat me down, and then after he'd isolate me, then on my weekends, when I would get caught lying, he would make me write X amount of times. I will not lie. I'd be like, start out light, like the ass whoopers did, right? About 1,000. So I knocked them out. The more I lie, the worse the ass whoopings got, the longer the confinement got, and the more times I had to write, I will not lie. It got to the point, and this is no exaggeration, where on any given weekend, I would be expected to write, I will not lie, 10,000 times from Friday night to Monday morning. And maybe 10, 11 years old, plenty of times 5,000. I mean, you just name it. And so it would be to the point to where if I wanted to come anywhere close, I would have to do it nonstop with almost no sleeping. Now, with all that said, I don't really know why God has me make these videos. In the beginning, he gives me the subject matter, and then, you know what I mean, whatever point is going to be made is going to be made. But he's telling me that I'm not just talking to the ones that are being abused or to the ones that have been abused. I'm talking to the ones that are doing the abusing or have done the abusing. Man, God's telling me there is forgiveness in everything. God only sees you one of two ways, either through the blood of his son or not. which basically means you are either saved by the blood of Jesus Christ or you're not. And if you're saved and seen through the blood of Jesus Christ by the Alpha and the Omega, you're forgiven. And you have just as much right to the kingdom as any victim as anybody else. See, I've been both. I've been on both sides of the coin. So God's got to do me a double favor, because if you're the victim, you always feel guilty about whatever it is, and if you're the predator, then even if you don't feel guilty, you are guilty. So same difference. And so that's what it is. And